And hello fellow tankers, Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks, and today I bring you another replay. We'll be taking out Tier 9 French Heavy AMX 50-120. Believe it or not, I really love this tank. AMX 50-100 is pretty good, AMX 50-120 is pretty darn good too, and obviously this leads to AMX 50B, which is absolutely fantastic tank with respect to rate of fire. A lot of people don't like this tank, but if you play it properly, it becomes a very powerful machine. Even though it's an autoloader, and first thing that comes in mind is autoloader unloading the clip, winning the damage trade with the opposition. This tank plays a little bit differently because aim time is not really that great, and time in between the shells is also not really that great, which kind of forces you to play more like a non-autoloading tank. Basically, you're forced to shoot and hide in between your shots, in between your shells, unless you're facing a lower tier opposition that maybe will do very little damage to you. In that case, you can afford to expose yourself and unload the clip into that opposition. But other than that, you have to be really cautious playing this tank because it doesn't have any armor. Honestly, the armor is paper, and a long reload between the shots doesn't allow you to stand toe to toe. Basically, you have to hide and you have to find proper timing when to poke out and take your shots, and be very selective with that. That being said, this tank has a great mobility and pretty decent gun accuracy. So even though you don't have any armor, you can use your mobility to relocate, and you can use your gun accuracy to fire at long distances. Also, their spotting is pretty decent. Therefore, I usually mount either binocs or coated optics on this tank, as I use it sometimes to play in the back lines as a sniper, and vision allows me to spot the opposition before they can spot me. So what I've done in this game is I came to the hill area, G0 area. One thing about this map is that you cannot really neglect this area. It's very important. Although for the most part everything's usually happening on the other side of the map, it is very popular on this map that 1 and 2 lanes are very heavy with respect to tank destroyers and light spotting the middle. The hill area is equally important. Why? Because first, it provides vital spotting for the tanks that are in the middle, and 2, you create additional shooting lane from these positions here where you can fire in the middle of the map, somewhere in the E5 sector. And the same goes for both sides of the map. Usually the teams that neglect the hill have very tough time winning on this map, because basically the opposition can take control of the map by just taking the hill and taking advantage of the high ground. So normally I would not come here on my own, but because I'm an autoloader and I do have 4 shells in the clip, I'm not extremely afraid. I'm just hoping that tanks in the middle will actually fire into these locations on the hill once I provide the spots for them. And luckily I managed to have gotten pretty good teammates, because they are actually paying attention to the hill, and they've managed to take out IS-7, and now this M48 pattern gets taken out. So job partly done here. Enemy push has been put to rest. What I'm gonna do here is poke out again to see what's happening. At the same time I will reload. Also, you can see me using this bush here on the right hand side. Guys, make it a habit, try using bushes for coverage and try spot through the bushes. It's probably the best way to provide spots without being detected. Here I moved on into a little bit of a dip on the hill. Since 2 of their tier 10s have been taken out, I decided to progress a little bit further and see if I can spot anything else. So now I'm really in an advantageous position. I have the high ground, which allows me to come closer to that ridge area where I can poke up and try to see if I can see anybody else. I don't see anybody, unfortunately, at this point in time, which tells me that there's no enemy really close by. So I'm gonna try to keep my distance here, distance from the usual camping location of the enemy, which is somewhere between B6 sector. I'm gonna try to creep up a little bit closer to see if I can get a spot or 2. I don't see anything happening, so right now I'm making a dash all the way down behind that little hill down here. That way I don't get targeted by the campers. And in the meantime, I'm also checking here if anybody's actually firing into my location, because I'm still detected, but I don't see anybody firing. I knew that Su-152 was there, and initially when I spotted, there were 3 tanks, Patton, the Russian Heavy plus the Su. So here I spot the Sioux. I try to take him out, but unfortunately RNG says no. So I'm gonna back up here for a bit, I'm gonna reload, and I'm gonna rethink what's the next strategy. I know for a fact that there are 2 tanks down there. You can see the German tier 9 heavy 4502, VK 4502, and Sioux is still there, which I haven't finished. So my next step will be, after reload, take out the Sioux, because it's the softest target out of the 2. And once Sioux is taken out, I'm gonna concentrate my fire on VK 4502B. So I'm trying to see if I can find shots on VK 42. Only a little bit of a turret is visible there, so I take 1 shot, but after I take the shot, he's been taken out by my teammates. At this point, I'm trying to switch attention to the other side of the map. I've seen light tank yellowing down and trying to take our artillery. I was thinking, should I come back at this point and take care of the light tank? But he gets taken out by our teammates. So in this case, I'm gonna try to cruise by closer into the middle and take the shots at the Death Star. Now, I'm pretty much exposed here in this location right now, but since nobody was firing at me from the usual camping location of the usual enemy camping location, I wasn't afraid that I was gonna get fired. But it turns out that there is actually something there firing at me right now. So it is possible that they were paying attention to the other side of the map, but because I became exposed and visible, they started firing at me instead. Now I'm in a little bit of predicament. There is a Death Star approaching into my location. I'm trying to reload and see, he's got only a little bit of health left at this point, so I should be able to take him out fairly easy, as long as I don't expose myself too much. So I don't know why he's not even paying attention to me. Like, he knows I'm here. I don't understand why. Maybe he didn't feel he was spotted. Maybe he didn't have sixth sense. I don't know. It's really hard to say, but it's really surprising that he wasn't paying attention to me. So at this point I wanted to become basically unspotted. Come out here again to see if I can see whoever is in the middle there, but my view range, I guess, is not that far, so I wasn't able to see who's there that was firing at me. So I decided just cruise down the 0 lane, come to that dip here at the riverbed, and communication is great actually in this game, I gotta say. The Waffle player has been very communicative. He was showing me how long he's got till the reload. So basically I knew that I can't really expose myself yet until he gets close to his reload being done. At which point I just decided to scoot up the hill a little bit more to see if I can keep my distance from the rail tracks over there, yet creep closer to find whoever was firing at me. And there he is, the tortoise. So I took a couple of shots, putting a couple of shots into the tortoise, then I keep him tracked for my enemy to scavenge. Hopefully somebody can take him out, and down he goes. So great communication between myself and the Waffle player. I think in games like this, it's really joy to play and find people that actually communicate and know what they want to do, so that we can work together as a team. In many games I find that players do stuff on their own and they're not willing to work as a team. So here we're progressing a little bit further. Only 2 tanks left on their side. Looks like a medium tank and a tank destroyer. I'm gonna try to poke out over the railroad here to see if I can get some spots. But unfortunately I get outspotted, likely by a medium tank. And I don't know if you guys noticed how I wiggled my turret there when I was backing out. I usually, over time, I learned to do this, because if you actually rotate the turret and somebody takes the shot, you have a higher chance of bouncing the shell. Therefore, every time I do it now, it doesn't matter what tank I play, I basically try to wiggle my turret when I back off the hill or the ridge or whatever it is. So here, because I was outspotted, it's I knew that there's no way that I could force it through that area. So basically what I'm trying to tell my teammates here to hold in the E5 kind of, those two tanks there in the E5 section, or sorry, E3, E2, E3 section, and the waffle. And I decided to take a different approach, go through the middle of the map and go into those little dip areas so that I can actually get closer to the opposition without exposing my tank. This allows me to just poke out over the ridge like this and get the spots, and then I can back down if I'm in trouble. So teammates managed to take care of the medium tank. At this point there's only one tank left. I think it's the grill, so the game should be pretty much over. It's just a matter of who's gonna get the kill. And I don't think, unfortunately, I won't be able to get to that. So the waffle takes him out. And yet another fantastic game. So maybe this is not an ace tanker game, guys, but it was very decent game, and I like the way it turned out. It allowed me to talk a lot about strategy, how I approach things on this map, how things are being done, and also, even though my damage count is not that high, it's only about 3.6k damage, but look at the spotting damage I've managed to accumulate, just because I was there by myself on the hill, providing the vital spots to my team. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this replay. Happy tanking, until next time, Space Bandit checking out.